Peace. Assalamu alaikum. How's everybody doing? I just wanted to go back and rehash on my review of the Rapido C36-7. I saw CRSteve's review of his four C36-7s, the ConRail, and he thoroughly picked it apart. Really gave it a solid critique. Okay. And there's some things that there's a lot of things that I can agree on. With me, it's more of a hit or miss when it comes to Rapido. So I just want to go over a couple of things with this engine. Now, I got the Norfolk Southern version. Okay. My number, okay, is 8539. Wait, excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, 8539. So I'm gonna, just go back over on some things. There are things that I've seen and things out there that I really didn't thoroughly explain. So, we're just going to go over a couple of things. Now, I stated before about with Rapido, it's a hit or miss. And most of the equipment that I've purchased from them were more hits than misses. I say the only Debbie Down I've ever had from them was their first run, their Mo Power from their C40-7 the cowl body BC rail, and I purchased that from a friend. Okay, I purchased that from a friend. He sold it to me, and that right there, I had some issues with it. If anything, the engine. I took the engine apart. I went on ahead. I took it apart. I went on and I saw the interior, because at first the ditch light on the left side of the cab wasn't on. So I went on ahead and I opened it up to check the inside, and quick fix. The contact wasn't touching. Okay, contact was a little stiff. I thought it was something a little major, but it was an easy fix. Now, one of the gripes, if anything, if I was to critique, we're gonna cut the lights on. Let me show you what I got going on. Let's do a thorough. So the headlights can be brighter. They do use some kind of tubing. And this is where I also agree with CRSteve. Shout out to CRSteve. Okay, go ahead and tag him. The headlights can be a little brighter. When he did his review, the marker lights for his C36-7s, all of them were dark. Again, it's more of a hit or miss with Rapido. And, from when I looked at the video, what it looked like, to get it authentically as prototypical as possible, the way he sees it, that's a lot of money. Okay? That's a lot of money. I mean, 4 engines, that's a lot of money. I mean, this right here was nice. This right here was a handsome ransom right here. But it's a hit or miss. Now, of course, when I get my engines, I usually weather them. I go ahead and weather my engines. So, again, it's a hit or miss. Now, what I also did is I added some, further added some decals, as well as I added some of today's decals with all the safety and all the different OSHA regulations. I felt the need Excuse me, I'm about to fix me a cup of coffee. I'm sorry. But I felt the need to go and, go appropriate for today's standards with the warning signs, all the warning labels. What they didn't have was they didn't have the model indication. Another thing, there were certain things that was also missing, the builder's plate, as well as various safety apparatus, safety signs, warning labels, and all of that. Well, I went on ahead and I added mine. I had to, again, according to what we see today. Okay, so now, of course, head on, it looks okay. You know what I'm saying? I can't complain. So, now, again, another thing, the engine's quiet. The speakers, they got the Sugar Cube speakers. Eventually, I'm going to add that sound decoder. Well, not sound decoder, but the that proto sound type deal. So that way it'll be a little louder. Okay, because I put this with my some of my SD60s as well as my SD70. Okay, for Norfolk Southern. And they were a little bit more louder, of course. Well, a lot more louder. And it drowned out this engine. Okay, now, just like my C30-7, which I usually pair this engine with. Yes, they're very quiet. My F40-PH-2s, they're quiet. But with Rapido, I know when I walk in, I know when I get something from them, I know when I'm walking in the door getting. Okay, I know that I'm aware of what I'm walking into with my purchases. And, again, it's a hit or miss. Some things I can't complain. With Norfolk Southern, they don't have the spinning bearing caps like ConRail or Union Pacific. But, yeah, again, this engine right here, was highly sought after. What I won't get, now I see Bachmann, they want to come out with a C36-7, but nah, it's not even, it's definitely a no-go. With that, just looking at the rendition that you see online, nah. Just looking at it, looks like it sits up too high. I don't know. I would have to see it when it comes out, but I wouldn't get it anyway because it's not equipped with ditch lights. So it's already, a no-go. I've heard that, Bachmann is revamping some things, and, it's not going to be like the Bachmann that we know. Again, I would have to see where they stand with Amtrak. Yes, that's a good thing. I got product for them as far as Amtrak is concerned. However, with Rapido, once again, it's a hit or miss. So we're gonna go ahead and, I'm just gonna advance this engine. They do got the P5 horn. Okay, let's move the engine up a little further. I added the white sill. Rest in peace to the people that perished on that UPS shipping truck. And, okay, we're gonna set it to the back. Again, the ditch lights, they're a lot brighter but I feel like even the tail lights, I feel like the tail lights could be a lot brighter. The ditch lights, I can't complain. Now, another thing that I do have somewhat of a, I don't want to say a gripe or anything. I mean, not much of a complaint. I wish they would have daylighted this right here, this section right here. You know, but there was no way, with all the electronics in there was no way to go ahead and make it see-through like the real thing. Okay, under the dynamic brake blister. Again, I know what I came in the door knowing what I paid for, so I can't complain about it. Okay, so you know, once again, man, I mean, like I said, you know, I can't complain. I knew what I was getting. It is what it is, you know. Yeah, I knew what I was getting. Okay, and you know, it's I added the horse head scheme, the horse head logo, because again, you know, it's contemporary. And I mean, even though Norfolk Southern does not roster this engine anymore, they do not roster these locomotives anymore. So I kind of gave it just a little update. You know, I mean, this is what I paid for, you know, and I run my railroad the way I run it. You know what I'm saying? But if Scale Trains would have went on ahead and did this project with C36-7, I believe they would have did a lot more. I know that they would have found a way to make that dynamic brake blister. Now, I know they would have made this cage see-through. I also know that they would have made the radiator section, of course, the cross bracings and everything, all of that. I know they would have made that see-through. They would have found a way. Now, with the trucks, okay, Rapido did a bang-up job, and I feel like they had to, because from what Aurora models, Aurora Lineages, who also is supposed to come out with their version of the C36-7, I feel like, you know, the see-through trucks, the see-through frames, the traction motor details, that Rapido, you know, went on ahead and jumped out the window, and, you know, I'm pretty pleased with it. And I feel that, you know, a lot of these other companies may soon follow suit. So in short, you know, I knew what I got. I knew what I paid for. Okay, so I can't complain. Some people out there, you know, they're gonna critique, and they have every right to critique, because again, you know, with New York price, I paid $363 for this locomotive, okay, alone. So I don't know how much CRSteve paid for each of his engines. Okay, he got 4 of them. And again, you know, with these types of models, we're talking $300+ with these types of models. Now, what I did speak of on how to attain so many engines, what I do when they make an announcement, I go ahead and I take $20, put it away. Because I know it's going to take some time. They got to do the research. You know, they got to do the AutoCAD. They got to, you know what I'm saying, man, do a whole lot of things. They go into production. You know what I'm saying? People do their pre-orders, see how much they're going to make. You know what I'm saying? And stuff, man. And then eventually, by the time it comes out, you should have well enough money to go ahead and get 2 or 3. Okay, depending on where you work. I lived and worked in New York City, so, you know, I can afford to, you know, stash away some funds to go ahead and get this locomotive. I made the initial review of this locomotive you know, when it first came out. You know, matter of fact, when I got the call, okay, I said I was going to pick it up. I picked it up a week later, and then I did the review. Okay, you can go ahead and check it out. But yeah, like I said, with Rapido, it's hit or miss. Another thing, you know what I'm saying, what they keep alive, and what I'm gonna start doing with some of my engines out there that I plan on refurbishing, you know, see, I like that Mo Power, you know, taking that engine out and you know, taking that engine and you know, with the Mo Power capacitors, they got 4 capacitors in there, you know, towards the center section. So again, with the decals, all right, yeah, with the decals and everything, I added the decals, and again, you know, according to today, I just turned this engine around. Really, this is the front part of the locomotive, technically, because Cruise, you know, they wanted Norfolk Southern according to their specs and the way they operate. The front is the long hood. But I operate my engines short hood most of the time. You know what I'm saying? The dynamic brake grid, of course, is see-through. And once again, I added the you know, different warning labels. I gotta add some gloss coat. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I ran out of gloss coat. And I to shine it up a little bit. But yeah. And I added the white sill because again, people they want to try to beat the train and whatnot. But yeah, there's some things, you know. I like the fact that they did add the spare knuckle bracket box in the back. So you know, the speed recorder, the sanding lines, and everything. Now another iffy deal that I do have some reservations on. Okay, I'm not sure if they had, you know, track inspection lights. I believe that they looked at the, you know, utilized the stairs, you know, as the lighting. Because when I used to see them in Hopewell at nighttime, you know, you would see the various lights and everything. You know, you would see the lights and everything. You know, according to the cab interior with the lit control stands is a standout. That's a good thing. Once again, if you want to see my review, my initial review on the engine, and if you want to see my review on the C30-7, okay, check out this channel right here. Okay, because I did a review on both. I'm using my phone, so don't judge me. But yeah, everybody's gonna have mixed reviews. It's a hit or miss. You know, some parts, some trains, you may luck up. I go to the store and I pick mine up. Some people, when you have stuff shipped, you know, you never know what you're gonna get. You don't know if, you know, there's gonna be loose parts and everything, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, the thing is nobody want to get a model, especially a model of this caliber, a model that costs this much and supposed to have all this quality, to have anything break. You should be able to take it out of the packaging. Okay, it should be a showpiece. It should be a discussion. It should be a discussion panel. You know what I'm saying? And nobody wants to have to take, you know, a 300 plus locomotive with me, a $350 $350+ model locomotive, to have to take it apart to fix something. Okay, nobody wants to have to do that. That would daggone make me, that'd drive me crazy. I'd be pissed off if that happens. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's more of a hit with me. And another thing, when I go to Train World and I get my product, I make sure they check it. Okay, I make sure they check everything, lights, sound, everything. It's gotta be right. If there's any defects, it will not go with me. You give me another one, okay? You know what I'm saying? When I get it, it has to be right. That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of... Yo, shout out to CRSteve. Shout out to James Wright. Shout out to Dan Carter-Passy, especially Dan Carter-Passy. Dan Carter-Passy, he'll pick it apart just as well. And the coupler better be at the right height. So, you know, I guess, you know, for lack of better terms, I looked up and got an official engine that was good quality, and there was nothing missing, nothing broke. And I got a good unit. Like my F40-PHs, my B36-7s, my GP38s, good gracious, my F40-PH-2Ms, my F9, my F9s, my F7, my F9, my FP9s, my FL9s. You know what I'm saying? Stuff. A whole lot of different engines. A lot of my cars, it was, everything came intact. But, once again, I got to the store and, I make sure that, hey, listen, test it out. Let me see it. I got to see it. Let me check it out. If there's a loose part, I ain't taking it. And this is how I came out on top. So like and subscribe, comment, like it, bump it, dump it, write it, and give me a shout, okay? Tell me what you think, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a good engine. Pricey, but good. Worth it. To me. You know what I'm saying? Is there things that can improve? Yes. I feel like, with the headlights, they can, the tubing and everything. I feel like the way, okay, before I let you go, to fix the headlight issue, just like they got the ditch lights, they got the contacts, I feel like they could do that, with the cab. You know what I'm saying? Have the LED with the cab, contacts with the contact to the shell, to the body, to the long hood. Okay, so that way the LEDs is right there at the lights, at the headlights as well as the tail lights. That should be the brightest. Okay, that should be that should be just as bright equally. Okay, the same type of luminance. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? That's what I think, man. I feel like that. If they do that, and if they step a little further and, you know what I'm saying, open them grates or whatever, oh man, shoot. Scale trains, it'd be, scale trains, Rapido be, well, they're a problem already for a lot of days. Let me break that down to y'all. New York terms. When we say something is a problem, that means it's damn good, that nobody out there is going to match up. That's what I mean by it's going to be a problem. So, the speakers, it could be a little louder. I feel like the weight inside the car body is holding back the sounds. The weight is kind of drowning it out. Okay, I feel like they could either have a speaker facing up, or they could kind of have some kind of opening to where the sound could be a little louder. So there's some things, just some suggestions. Like to bump and dump and ride it. I'll talk to y'all later.